The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another special edition of Houston Texans football, the Twin Toros podcast. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calavillo. My co-host, Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. OG, how's it going?
Hey man, it's so much more fun to do these after a dub. I'm
Mhm.
feeling good, feeling re-energized about this Houston Texans team, taking it with a grain of salt, understanding it's a game at a time. That's a quality football team the Texans just beat.
No, absolutely. I don't think anyone should take this victory away from the Houston Texans because entering this game, the talks around San Francisco were that they are such a well-coached team, defense according to Robert Saleh, Coach Shanahan handling the offense, that coaching enough should be, what does it for the 49ers and what could potentially give them the win, even when the NFL did their weekly pick 'em. 9 out of 10 experts picked the Houston Texans to lose this football game.
Mm-hmm.
And, me and you talked about how nervous we were for this San Francisco game. We know the San Francisco 49er faithful fan base was going to pull up, and they absolutely did that.
Yep.
I was feeling that this could potentially be the straw that breaks the camel's back. You also tie in all the media fiasco going on the last couple of weeks, especially the last couple of days.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans, though, they handle business, and they handle business in a way, Nick, that we see the offense being the driving force of
Mm-hmm.
this victory. But before we get into that, man, episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is now than it is with players like CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. Use promo code 713HOU, and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. They're also giving you a free $20 deposit.
Mm.
No deposit needed. Just type in 713HOU. Man, you just shout out to Sleeper, right? Some of
Shout
my
out to
picks
Sleeper,
for
man.
tonight.
Gotta
Give
remember
me
to pay the bills, Ruben. Shout out to
man,
Sleeper.
shout out to Sleeper. We got Shohei Otane over on the fantasy baseball.
Mm.
Um, we got Bam Adebayo under on fantasy score. LaMelo Ball over on his fantasy score. Looking to make some bread.
Okay. Okay. Get you some. Get you some. Y'all use that promo code too.
How you feeling?
You make any money off the Texans
No.
via sleeper?
Uh,
You weren't ready to bet on the Texans yet, huh?
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
blame
Was not ready. However, I added them into one part of a parlay. They passed. Well, the person that passed was Jalen Noel.
you. Okay.
Um, but other than
Shout
that,
out to the
man,
Rook, man. These young boys are looking good, and especially you, but we've both been saying, man, give these young boys a chance. And with no Nico Collins, I was concerned. I think we all were. But let me ask you a question, man. Seeing what you can do without him, how much confidence does that give Woody Marks, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins? How much more confidence is that going to give them offensively when they get their best receiver back?
I think it gave them a lot of confidence that they could, that off of what they did on Sunday. No Nico, no Christian Kirk, not being without Joe Mixon. You still have all the questions surrounding your offense. There was multiple times where I looked to my boys and I was like, dude, what are we watching right now? This isn't a Houston Texan offense that we are used to seeing.
Hmm.
And but I mean used to seeing an offensive line that gave up 0 sacks. Like that's crazy when you're talking about a Houston Texan offensive line. And because of that, you got to saw your quarterback do franchise quarterback things.
Hmm. Big time, man. I mean, over 300 yards,
Mm,
2 tutties. He looked like it's weird to say he looked like rookie CJ Stroud because usually when you're talking about rookie,
mm.
you're talking about progression instead of regression. But we've been searching for rookie CJ Stroud since his rookie season. And man, he said it himself. And shout out to him for giving credit to the offensive line. He says, "I'm nothing without you guys."
Mhm.
But he's told this offensive line, "You give me time, and I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the league." And he's not lying, man. The proof is in the pudding. Now, of
Yeah.
course, we would like for him to be a little bit better when everything breaks down. But at the end of the day, there's a very, very small amount of quarterbacks who are just going to be great no matter what's going on around them. And maybe CJ isn't that guy, but he is good enough that if you give him just enough protection, even when things are breaking down, he's
Mm,
made some pretty good throws and then had dropped by people you don't expect to drop, like Nico Collins. Um, so what I loved about what I heard about CJ afterward, it wasn't from the media, it wasn't from the fans. What are his teammates saying about him? You
mm,
know, Titus Howard said CJ is that dude, and then Xavier Hutchinson, who had a career day himself, he said, look, CJ is still that guy, and he holds himself accountable first, but he believes in us and he tells us, hey man, if you do what you got to do, I got you. And and I'm paraphrasing there, but when I heard the team has his back, the coach has his back. There's a lot of teams that have had the type of start the Texans have had before, and you start to see the cracks, and you think to yourself, man, it's a matter of time before this whole thing blows up. Despite the fact that they've started 3-4, this team feels like they're together.
I don't know. I wouldn't say they're together. Um,
Really? Hmm.
I would say, well, leading up to this game, we heard about some potential, issues going on in the locker room. Maybe you weren't tapped in last week, but it was brought up by DJ Enemy
Hmm.
how, players don't like how D'Amico Ryan says one thing behind closed doors, another thing in front of the camera. Now DJ Enemy didn't want to, go in and and specify. Then
Right.
you heard D'Amico Ryan's go out on the press conference and say, basically that if the players do what the coaches say on the field, it's going to work out,
Right.
right? So that's why I'm saying I don't think that this team is together. I think winning cures all.
Hmm.
And I just think as long as you win these problems, they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. And
Yeah.
and that just happens when you lose, right?
Yeah.
Everything gets amplified. But putting together some dominant wins.
Yeah. And I did hear about that. And to counter that, what kind of made me feel like, CJ talked about in his interview with Fox right after the game, like we had some hard conversations. And he said that, the coaches were really blunt and honest with us. We were blunt and honest with the coaches. And I think that has to happen. There's times in the course of me and you working together where you want to tell me, hey, bro, I think you're fucking up, or you need to do this a little bit different. We've had conversations where we're trying to get this thing to be as good as it can be. I don't think that means there's problems
Mhm.
between us, but like you said, losing does amplify those type of things. To me, what I saw from D'Amico Ryans towards the media, and I thought the media was being a little bit sensitive. To me, what I saw was him trying to basically give his team this, hey, it's us versus everybody else mentality, including sometimes the media. And I will say, if we're going to get into that, I think what he said was misconstrued a little bit. I don't know if you want to go into detail on that or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we could definitely touch up on that and touch up on that, later on. I would
Okay.
definitely like to get through this game. But no, but that was one of the reasons why heading into Sunday, I was like, man, if
Yeah.
you lose this football game, it is going to get real hot inside
Mhm.
NRG. And even after the win, I mean, we still got to see that little, that little back and forth between D'Amico Ryans and Landry Locker and DJ Enemy. But like I said, we'll get to that in a second. Going back to the San Francisco 49ers game, you have to give credit to your offensive coordinator, Nick Caley. You have to
Mhm.
give credit to CJ Stroud. You have to give credit to this offensive line, to Woody Marks. It was their day on Sunday. And I know who wasn't there. I know who was calling plays for them. Robert Saleh, a great defensive mind who could scheme it up with the best of them. He
Mhm.
didn't have an answer for the Houston Texan offense. And what's crazy is that we've seen the ceiling, and that is damn near 50 points against the Baltimore Ravens.
Mhm.
We've seen the floor, 0 touchdowns against the LA Rams, whatever the hell you did against Seattle Seahawks. So it's like, where is the middle ground of this
Right.
Houston Texan offense? And it feels like you got that on Sunday against San Fran. You just need to see it consistently, which is why I'm not here banging on the table saying we're back, we're about to go on this magical run. I might be saying that if you win on Sunday against the
Yeah.
Denver Broncos, but
Yeah.
as of right now, we're still on. I don't want to say fraud watch, but we're on the lookout
Yeah.
for
We're
for
constantly,
the offense. Cautiously optimistic.
as we have been. Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. What worked for you and what has worked for you is when they're able to control the tempo, when they're able to control possession, run the ball. That's what worked for them. And when the defense isn't having to be out there every 5 plays because you keep getting three and out and punt.
Hmm.
When you give this defense a chance to rest and they stay fresh for the entire game, then they can go hunt in that fourth quarter. And that's what they did. Um, so less and less I don't think we've yet to see a 100% complete game. I know the Ravens game was probably the closest thing to it, but there was a lot of special teams problems in this game. I don't know what's going on with Kyrie Fairbairn. I don't know if he's got a hamstring.
What's wrong with Kaimi?
He keeps these whack ass kickoffs where he's either kicking the ball out of bounds. He didn't even get it in the landing zone on one of them. That cost you an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to possibly get the ball back sooner with some time on the clock in the Seattle game. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's an emergency, but it's something to keep an eye on. But we have yet to see a full complementary special team, defense, offense, put that whole thing together. Like I said, I guess the Ravens is probably the closest to it. But I think there's still room for this team to improve. And that's what gives me a little bit of optimism because you have a chance to get back to 500 and you still have a mountain to climb. I think you and I both agree they can probably kiss winning the division goodbye. But they just have to stack wins to give themselves an opportunity to possibly get a wild card spot. Um, you got huge games coming up in your division. You got to beat the Jags. There's a lot of good football left to go, man. But this team, we're gonna find out. I say in the next 4 weeks, I think we're gonna know just what this team is made of and what their metal is, and if they even stand a chance. Let's say they do make the playoffs. Like, are they gonna do anything in the playoffs? I think we're gonna find out in the next 4 weeks.
I mean, dude, if they make the playoffs, and that means they've won some of these big games,
Yeah,
right?
of
And when
course.
you look at who's left on the schedule, you see Indy twice, you see Buffalo, you see Kansas City, you see LA. So I mean, if we get into the playoffs and we look at the season as a whole and talk about how it started and how it ended, that's going to be a fun conversation to have. But it starts with this Sunday against the Denver Broncos. You have
Mm,
another opportunity to get your biggest win of the season. Going to the defensive side of the ball, Christian McCaffrey, no show. George Kittle, I know he had the touchdown, no show. The Houston Texans defense, they kept the San Francisco 49ers offense in check. They keep a good play caller in check. And
mhm.
Will Anderson Jr. was an absolute force on Sunday. Gets a sack and probably added on 2 tackles for loss and maybe 5, 6 pressures. I think he has 5 sacks on the season. Um, I think Will Anderson Jr. is just getting started. I would like to see Daniil Hunter get started as well. He's been
Yeah.
MIA the last couple of games. Kamari Lassiter, the locksmith,
Mm.
big interception to kind of seal it. The defense is gonna do its stuff, man. It's gonna take the football away. It's gonna
Yeah.
stop the run. Um,
I
I just
think Kamari's played
can't
better
wait.
than Stingley this year, man.
Stingley's banged up, and
Yeah, that's true.
And
He's
and
having a
you
hard time out
and
there.
what's crazy is, like, it's not even like he's playing bad,
No, he's
right?
not.
He's like he right now, I would say Stingley's still a top 10 cornerback,
For sure.
which is crazy, so I can't wait to see him get fully healthy. They say when you get an oblique injury that you're dealing with that the whole year.
Yeah, for sure.
Um
He's just like a half a step
Mhm,
behind sometimes, and a few times he slipped, and that's
mhm,
what's giving up a big play.
mhm.
But
Henry
I've been really.
Tua looked good. He had a
Yeah,
nice pass
finally.
breakup against, Christian McCaffrey. Azeez looked good. EJ Speed has
Second
looked real
hey,
good for you.
that one shocked me, to be honest. I didn't even
I
think he was
knew it.
gonna
I
play.
knew
I
I
thought he
knew
was
it.
gonna be a special teams guy when they picked him up. He's been
Nah,
really
dude, he
good.
had like 2 years where he led them in tackles, and I was like, "There's something there." Like, he started off as a special teamer, but then got it going late.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it feels like you have some life. You have a little bit of, energy, and
We've been saying, man, just be middle of the pack.
And that's
on
what they
offense.
showed you on
You
Sunday.
scored 21 points. You got a chance to win all of
You
these games.
scored 21 points and, and your defense was just doing the rest. Yes, they gave you a couple of scares, but that was just because your special teams gave up, a huge play, which also you got a penalty on. And then, just a couple of deep shots to George Kittle and then Gerard Jennings. Other than that,
Yeah.
if that special teams thing doesn't happen, we're talking about the Texans blowing out San Francisco.
Yeah. At minimum, give me 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals, and you're gonna win.
Hey,
Almost.
as much as shit we want to give Kaimi,
Yeah.
he's been
He's
nails.
been nailed. He's only
Dude,
missed 1 all year.
he's already top 10 all time in field goal percentage?
Oh, really? Dang. I wonder where he is on all-time scoring because I know he's the Texans' all-time scorer.
Oh, he he
Oh,
he he might have some ways to go.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you had dudes who kicked until they were, like, in their
Sebastian
late 40s.
Janikowski,
Yeah.
um, who
Those dudes
else?
were, like, 40 when they retired.
George Blanda,
Yeah, Anderson, Morton Anderson.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, he's probably got a ways to go.
So, but I mean, Houston Texans get a big dub. I think one of the
Yeah.
funny parts of this game was, as San Francisco was walking out, you hear one of the players say, "What the fuck is a Texan?" Well, buddy, you found out
You're
what a
wearing the red.
Texan was, and you saved your season. Your
Yeah.
season was on the line. How many of us would have started looking at the draft? How many of us would have started to have the conversation? Should we just tank
Yep.
the rest of the way? But no, you put those conversations to bed and you have an opportunity. I don't want to say shock the world.
Yeah.
That
But
could happen if you beat Denver, who are red hot, winners of their last four.
yep. They just took
This
your time with
reminds
the
me a
Cowboys.
lot of 2 years ago when Denver came into town when they were winners of their last four.
Mm.
And the Texans, it came right down to the wire with the game. NRG needs to get lit on Sunday, and I think it
Please.
will be. I think it will be after this victory because now we're like,
You
all
gonna
right,
be at the tailgate?
yeah, of course I'm gonna be at
I
the
need you to make
tailgate
sure everybody gets
with the
inside.
Lone Star Trailgaters, the
Hey.
best tailgating spot in the blue lot. Might be the best tailgating spot in any of the lots, and
Yeah.
it's just fantastic. Let's talk about D'Amico Ryan's beefing with the media, man. So, you guys good? Um, let me just say, I'm team media, man.
Yeah.
I really don't see what's the issue with criticizing the team, when they deserve to be criticized, especially when the last 2 years there has been nothing but praise for this team, this organization, our head coach D'Amico Ryans. Praise has been there the last 2 seasons.
Mhm.
You start off 0-3, and what do you expect?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you expect? And it's not like the questions that are asked are hard. It's not like, why didn't you press Derek Stingley?
Mhm.
Why are you rotating left guards? You
Mhm.
know, and it's
That's the stuff that you would ask if you were there, I'm sure.
exactly right. And that's my point.
Yeah.
If Landry Locker and DJ Bieniemy are not there to ask the questions, who's going to? You know who's going to ask the question? It's going to be someone asking about a fucking hat. That's the questions that they
Yeah.
want in their energy. Because I
Alright.
do feel like sometimes the questions, I don't want to say they shape the, like the way the team plays the following week, but right, but it's they
Well
listen.
well,
They listen.
according to D'Amico, it has no effect on them
Yeah, I
at
don't
all.
believe that whatsoever.
Well, I said during the game because you remember Landry Locker asked Nick Caley about the sneak, and they did it 3 times in
They
this
did
game,
it three
right?
times and were successful
All
on
3
three
times.
times. Like who was back at punt returner?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Damian Pierce.
Jalen Noel.
And, yeah, Jalen Noel was back there too. Damian Pierce was returning kicks, that's right.
So
Um,
it's like,
so
yes, I agree when they say it means nothing, right? And at the end of the day, it absolutely does. But don't tell me you're not listening.
yeah, let me defend the coach for a minute, and I'm pro media also, and this is why I think this whole thing was a little bit misconstrued. When he is talking about everyone thrives off the negative, I honestly don't think he's talking about the media. I think he's talking about social media and the fans, and that's true. where I agree with you, D'Amico Ryan's first year, we were in the honeymoon phase, and they won 10 games after only winning 4. In the second year, that's when the criticism started a little bit, not really with him, but with obviously Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, it was all Bobby.
And in the third year, now deservedly so, you start off 0-3. But I think when he says people thrive off the negative, I think he's talking about social media and the fans. And sometimes, unfortunately, some people's content, they allow the temperature of the fans to drive what they're going to write, what type of video they're going to make. Because obviously, you want people to click on your stuff. I mean,
Who does that? Call him out.
I'm not going to say anybody specifically, but I
Call him
see.
out.
I don't want to hate on other content creators, but I see it like they like just super outraged. And I'm not saying they're being disingenuous, but that's gonna get more clicks. If you let this because you are a YouTube expert. After a Texans loss, if you put out a video and the headline is "It's okay, guys, the Texans are still good," who's gonna click on that?
Mhm.
Nobody. You got to put, hey, Texans are a disaster. You got to put all the right keywords because people, they want to watch something that validates the way they feel in that moment. And that's cool. As a head coach, D'Amico Ryans can't buy into that. D'Amico Ryans that's just his personality. He is a positive reinforcement guy. So I believe him uh, when he says we don't hear it, I don't think he means we physically don't hear it, don't see it. I think what he means is that's not going to affect what we do in our team meetings. It's not going to affect what we do in practice. It's not going to affect what we do in the game because, you know, Houston Sports State of the Union said, hey, I think the Texans should put Jalen Noel at punt returner or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to try to watch their film and do what's best for them and then live with the result. But when he said, I don't think he said nobody in the media gives us positive coverage. Because if he said that, that wouldn't be true. Like, that would obviously be not fact.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
which
he
is why
said,
I'm on DJB Enemies and Landry Sport because I mean those were some of the two biggest, like D'Amico advocates, right? Like I
mhm.
remember listening to Landry Lonker when, he was all for D'Amico,
Right. I
you
don't think
know.
he was talking about them. That's my point. I think
I
maybe
don't.
they thought he was because obviously they stood up and defended themselves. But I don't really think he was talking about them. I think he was talking about social media in general and
Mm.
just the temperature of the fans because
You know what was
we've been
funny?
hard on him.
I had put let me shut the f up then D'Amico, and then you know who reposted it? John McClain. But I just
Nice.
um this Houston media is not as vicious as it should be,
No,
as it
not at all.
could be. Like, I really do mean when I say this, go listen to Philadelphia.
Yes.
Go listen to them during their Super Bowl run, and
Mhm.
how many times head coach Nick Sirianni got into it with reporters, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's maybe that Southern hospitality, really is a real thing, but
Yeah.
I don't issue anyone with asking the right questions. Um,
That's their
and
job.
and I really don't think those, like, to your point, I mean, even the ones I don't like in that room, I don't think anyone's a clip farmer, right? And I know that's not a term that you're familiar with,
Yeah, yeah.
OG, but or clout chasers, right? The
Yeah.
one time there was a clout chase, it was called out by D'Amico, and that was the Aaron Wilson injury news surrounding Joe Mixon.
Right.
But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans, they get a damn good win against one of the best teams in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. Don't let no one take this away from you. You did the damn thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Look at what Mac Jones was doing before he faced the Texans defense.
mm,
He was playing well, and they
and
made him look bad.
look at what Christian McCaffrey was doing before they
Mhm.
played this defense. So don't let anyone tell you this is a fluke or nothing. Me and Nick, we have some big things planned for you guys as the season comes along. It's going to be absolutely crazy. We want to shout out Bleacher. Oh, we want to shout out Sleeper, allowing us to come on here,
Yes, yes.
talk Houston Texans football. Get a $100 deposit match up to $100 with promo code 713HOU. This was episode what? 58, 59.
58.
This is episode 58. Who are some 58
I
Texans?
forgot to look.
Was Brooks Reed 58?
Brooks Reed was 58.
Shout out to Brooks Reed,
Double
wherever
take.
you are.
I like that one with wherever his long flowing locks are at.
Yes.
Uh,
Left us, went to Atlanta and
Atlanta.
was there for a couple of years.
Did he go to Super Bowl with them and lose?
I think so. I think so. But he
Infamous,
got there.
infamous tank. Yeah, that's true. I'm
Shout
tired
out
of
to
people. I'm tired of people leaving Houston and going to the Super Bowl, Ruben. When is it going to be our turn?
dude. Seeing Jacoby Jones do what he did with the Ravens just hurt me in my soul. With that being said,
Our
we love
entire coaching staff going to Denver and winning a
Owen
Super Bowl.
Daniels.
I'm sorry. I know you're trying to get out of here. I love you, bro.
We love you guys. Shout out to y'all. Episode brought to you powered by Sleep.